Welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, passionate, inspirational speaker, author, poet, and entrepreneur. Good morning, and welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm delighted that you joined me this morning. Today is Wednesday, March 7th. I want to give a great big thank you to those of you who are listening today. I also want to give a big shout out to all of you listening around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you tuned in. I sure hope you're enjoying a fabulous day today and that you're having a fantastic week, because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is so short. It's so short and sweet and precious. So I hope you're making a difference in your own life, because when you do, you also make a difference in somebody else's life. A lot of folks want to make their life count for something, and they ask me, how do you do that? Well, it's really very simple. Very simple. For those of you who celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day earlier this year, you know very well what I'm talking about. Now, that day is about paying tribute to Dr. King's memory and his legacy of social justice. And for more and more of us, it's about making it a day on rather than a day off. Making it a day where you can pass it on, right? By being of service in some way in your neighborhood or community or school. So to you, I say, keep on keeping on. That's how you do it. That's how you make your life count. Day by day, step by step, moment by moment, every single day, 365, 24/7. That's what Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count is all about. It's not about being perfect. It's just about having that intention, the intention to serve other people. You can learn more about Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count by visiting the Gloria Burgess website. That's GLORIA, B as in boy, URGESS.com. That's the Gloria Burgess website, GloriaBurgess.com, or by visiting Facebook, Facebook.com/DR for Doctor, DR, GLORIA, BURGESS, PhD /. Now, this is part two of my show on Leading from Within with my special guest, Megan Scribner. You might recall from last week's show that my guest is someone near and dear to my heart. Why? Because she makes a difference. She makes a difference in her own life and in the lives of so many others throughout the world through her work as an editor and as a leader. Now, last week, we talked about her work on a wonderful book called Leading from Within. So let's dive into part two of my conversation with Megan. For those of you who are just tuning in, or if you missed last week's show, my guest is an editor, which means she's really a gardener, a gardener and a curator of souls. She's been an editor, a gardener, and a soul curator for 30-plus years. As an editor, Megan works with all kinds of writers, those who are well-established, as well as first-time authors. She enjoys working with them to strengthen their writing and, even more importantly, to help them find what's at the core, what's at the heart of their work, and to help give their work voice. In essence, she strives to help each author not only to write, but also to lead from within. In her life and in her work, Megan is committed to creating space and lifting up voices. Boy, she's singing my song. I just love that. Creating space and lifting up voices is actually central to all of her work, her editing, her volunteer work in the local schools and community, and to her website, a very special website called Teaching with Heart, Fire, and poetry. Don't you just love that? Teaching with heart, fire, and poetry. And her new project, which is called the Thank You Teachers Project. Now, before we begin part 2 of Leading from Within, I want to take a moment to welcome you, my dear listeners. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess. This is Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'd like to extend a special welcome to those of you who are joining my show, or if you're joining Talk Network Radio for the very first time. Let me tell you, you are in for a real treat. I'm so excited to have you listening in today, and I'm deeply honored that you've allowed me to be part of your day so you can be inspired by the ideas and resources to make your life count. Now, today's show is all about leading from within. My focus today is on a book by the same name, Leading from Within, a book edited by my guest, Megan Scribner. Join me now for part 2 of Leading from Within with my very special guest, Megan. Now, I've just asked her to respond to this question. How does leading from within show up in your own life and work? How does leading from within show up in your own life and work?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. I think one of the ways is that the other day I was just trying to describe to a friend and colleague what I'm most drawn to and what I feel most passionate and called to do, particularly in this time and where we are these days. And I realize that in all my different roles, this creating and holding space and lifting up other people's voices is really where I am called, and that it reflects very deeply, I think, my own being and how I feel a part of the world and how I feel where my talents and strengths lie in terms of the world is being opening welcome space for others, and that feels of great service. I feel like I'm it's my service role with a deep heart behind that to do. And so I find that in these books or in my editing work or my organizing, that creating space for others, to try and have generous spaces where others can contribute what they have to say, that lifts up the whole world. So one of the things I've done from these books is, because as I said earlier, this is some of the most enjoyable work I've ever done, is I've created the website, the Teaching with Heart, Fire, and Poetry website, as a place to extend this experience, to let others be able to write their reflections on poetry, and also just their essays or short pieces on their life and work, whether it includes poems or not. But I feel like that being engaged with others and providing a space where people can take some moments to reflect on their life and work is, for me, it's a powerful gesture to the world of saying, here's what I can offer. What I can offer is space and enabling people's voices to be heard. And so I feel like that's the gift that I can give to the world, and that through that, I lifting up other people's voice, it's also lifting up my own.
Mm-hmm. So in hosting other people to think about, to reflect on, to write about leading from within, it's also helping you host and garden for your own voice, it sounds
like. Exactly. You know, that I'm an editor by, I think, both skill and temperament. You know, I'm not necessarily somebody who's out in front all the time, though I sometimes have that role. But you can lead from many places along the spectrum.
Absolutely.
And so creating space is one of the ways to lead.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love that. I love that image. I love that metaphor. And it's so it's so timely for, again, for the space that we're in with leadership right now. Megan, I would love to have you talk a little bit about your project called the Thank You Teachers Project, and how it links up, how it connects with leading from within.
Sure, thanks. Yeah. About a year ago, really just a year ago, I was getting so distressed by all the rancor and animosity and just all the things that were the negativity that was being expressed, particularly online and particularly toward teachers. It always throws me that all the hostility that's directed toward teachers when they take on such important work, and I swear most of us couldn't last a day in a classroom, much less do it for a year. So I've never understood that. And when you go online, if you look at the comments on almost any piece that's done about teaching, it's amazing the level of anger that's directed toward them. And I really felt called to try and do something to disrupt the negative. I couldn't figure out really a huge way to lead in this, except for, again, trying to create space, to try and create a place that encouraged kindness and gratitude as opposed to anger and hatred. And that by creating a space and lifting up teachers, that we could lift up the profession as well as the individuals of teachers. So I created the Thank You Teachers Project, where people can post online thank you letters to the teachers that have meant something in their life. It can be a teacher from your past, from your present, a yoga teacher, a coach, a principal, even your own parents, or your child's teacher, somebody who you just want to thank because they have been a teacher in your life and have meant something to you. So the letters are short. It just fits on a page, and I have a form on the website. And when you go there, I format them so that we can have a wall of letters thanking teachers. And then by having all those things, I believe that I'm hoping that it seeds a sense of possibility, that we can all be kinder. We can all respond to people in a loving way and generate gratitude, and that the more we plant seeds of gratitude, the more that will be how we come into the work that we are called to do. That takes a lot of strength and standing up, but if we can come to that also from a place of positiveness and love, that world will be a better place.
Well, thank you. I know when you first told me about this project, and you said that there were so many, letters of hatred toward teachers, it actually surprised me. I don't know why it would surprise me, but it surprised me. I think that teachers have one of the toughest jobs on the planet, and I honestly think highest callings on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
Create a space, Megan, like you have done, that encourages loving and compassion and kindness and gratitude and a sense of possibility is just a marvelous, amazing thing that you've done. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. And thank you for letting me tell people about it. I appreciate getting out the word.
You are so welcome. Megan, we are at the end of our time today, but I don't want to leave without letting folks know how to reach out to you, to learn more about you and your work. So would the best place be your email or your website? What would you like to share with our listeners?
I think there's two things that they can do, and thank you for that. One is to go to the website to see what the possibilities are, that they can send in their reflections. They can subscribe to the blog posts. And so that's at teachingheartfirepoetry.com is the website.